Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to today's how-to. Today's how-to is the Nashville Number System. So I'm sure you've heard it referenced, you may have seen it used, you may know what it is, you may not know what it is, but we highly recommend that you understand it and grasp fully what it is and its potential, because it will help you in situations where you don't know the song, you don't know what's going on, and it's going to make you sound like you know what you're doing when you have no idea what you're doing. So what is the Nashville Number System? So it's a system designed to simplify or oversimplify the diatonic elements of a particular scale. So what are the diatonic elements? Well, basically, it's the notes in a particular key. And we know as musicians that from those notes, the melody is written, the chords are laid out, the progressions are put in place. It all flows from those particular notes in whatever key that you're in. And if you understand that, you'll know why the number system works so well and so easily with any song. So the purpose of the number system is this. It's to give you just enough information about the chords and the chord progressions that you can play any song with basic chords. And when I say basic chords, I mean just triads. So if you're playing a G chord, just a G, B, and a D, or a D chord, D, F sharp, A, right? Just basic chords. And you can sound like you know what you're doing in any situation. It also, and this is a great benefit, it eliminates all the letters, all the accidentals, which are the sharps and the flats, and all the fancy jazzy chord notation. I can read it and I understand it and I know how it works. I went to school for it, but if it doesn't have to be there, I'd rather it not be there. You know, it's like, why tie your shoes when you can use Velcro? Velcro is so much faster. Anyways, don't judge me. Anyways, how does it work? So a number is assigned diatonically to each note in the scale. And diatonically just means in order according to the scale. So for all of our examples, we're going to use the key of G major. So here's the key of G major right here. And I'm going to add a note here. If you don't know how to build a major scale, we highly recommend that you go check out our other video, How to Build a Major Scale, and it will help you in any situation where you need to know what the notes are in whatever key that you're in, and you can know what you can play, what you can't play, etc., and feel very confident in that. So here's our G major scale. So to build the Nashville number system, all we're going to do is go straight up the scale with numbers. So G is 1, A is 2, B is 3, and let's add the rest of them. So now that we have these numbers lined up with the correct letters, what do they mean, right? So number 1, which is G, has two meanings. That number implies two things. One, that your bass note is going to be a G. It also implies that you're going to play the one chord. So there's an implied chord for every number in the number system. How do I know what those chords are? Okay, well, check out this graphic. So on this graphic, you're going to see three things. There is the number according to the Nashville number system. There's the chord and the notes broken down for you. And again, these are basic chords, just triads, so three notes. And then you have the timbre of the chord. So there are three timbres that we're going to use, and it's major, minor, and diminished. And I'm sure you know all these chords or you've heard of these chords. And so here's the important thing to note about this graphic. This graphic is a universal graphic for the major scale, for the major key that you're in. It will always be this way. And so what I mean is this. Your one chord will always be a major chord. Your 2 chord, follow the row across, is always going to be a minor chord. 3 minor, 4 major, 5 major, 6 minor, 7 diminished. In any situation, you can assume that if somebody calls a 4 chord, if you're in the key of G, they want a C major chord. If they call a 5 chord, they want a D major chord. And so your responsibility as a player is to memorize the timbres of these chords. So 1, know that it's major. Know that 4 is major and 5 is major. Know that 2, 3, and 6 are minor, and know that 7 is diminished. But I do want to add an important note here. And so check out the bottom of this graphic. This is an alternate 7 chord. So for most Christian, country, and pop music, they're not going to use a diminished 7 chord. They're actually going to use a major 5 chord in first inversion. So look on this graphic, look at the 5 chord. And the 5 chord you'll see is a D major. It's D, F sharp, and A. An inversion is when you take the notes of a chord and you flip-flop them. Particularly move the bass note around. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our F sharp in the bass instead of the D. We still have the notes needed to make a D major chord, but now it's a D chord in first inversion because our F sharp was in the bass. So according to the Nashville number system, if I wanted to call a 7 chord and I didn't want it to be diminished, it would be a 5/7. But I would imply, hey, 7 just means 5/7. So 7 is going to be a D chord with an F sharp in the bass. And that creates a slash chord. So these slash chords, anytime you see them, this is what they mean. So check out this graphic. On the left side of the slash is the chord that you're pulling the notes from. On the right side is the note that whoever's writing the chart or whatever song you're in, that's what they want in the bass. That's the root note that they want. So for this particular one, D over F sharp is going to be our slash chord. So the left side again is the chord, the right side is the bass. And if you understand that, then you can now play inversions of chords and you didn't even know that you were doing it. So that's the number system broken down. So what we're going to do now is give you a few examples of what you might see, some just common progressions. I'm also going to show you some alternate chords where people would sub in, instead of a 2 minor, they would sub in a 2 major. Or instead of a 4 major, they're going to put a 4 minor. So let's look at some of these examples. So that's the Nashville number system. If you can get a hold of all these concepts and start to put them into use, you're going to see a noticeable difference in your preparation, how you feel walking into situations where you wouldn't normally be comfortable and feeling comfortable. And we want you guys to succeed. That's our desire. That's our hope. So we appreciate you guys, and start using that number system.